don't know what it's going to be like, to be honest. I'm curious, what it's going to be like to step in. I haven't been in a prison since I was released in Iran, and not just any prison. We're going to be walking into Pelican Bay.
My name is Shane Bauer.
As they were hiking right along the Iranian border.
In 2009, I was captured on the Iran-Iraq border with Josh Fatal and Sarah Schward.
Being sentenced to 8 years in.
We never knew when or if we would get out.
Bauer denied the charges.
I spent 4 months in solitary confinement. I didn't expect to find the same, or worse, back home in California.
Solitary confinement was the worst experience of all of our lives.
Just getting my cameras ready. Pelican Bay Prison is right behind these trees over there. I have this feeling of weight, of heaviness. I'm nervous. We're about to pull in. We're pulling in right now to Pelican Bay State Prison. I know I'm going to see people who have been living in solitary for a very long time.
Just always be on your toes. Always be on your toes. Okay.
My guides today are Lieutenant Chris Acosta and institutional gang investigator David Barneberg. Pelican Bay, one of the first supermaxes in the country, is infamous for its security housing unit, or SHU. While some of these inmates are murderers, they aren't put in the SHU for their original crimes. Some have never even broken prison rules. Inmates are held in the SHU indefinitely because the Department of Corrections says they are connected, however tenuously, to prison gangs. It's been 7 months since I've been inside a prison cell. I thought this was going to be better than it is. This cell is one of 8 in a pod. At a little over 11 by 7 feet, it's smaller than any I've ever inhabited. We're in a SHU cell right now. The inmate is outside. This is where he sleeps. When there's another cellmate that sleeps up there. It's pretty bleak, I think. There's no natural light. Without a window in my cell, I wouldn't have had the sound of ravens, the rare breezes, or the drops of rain. Even when the window is closed, like in the winter, it's also suffocating. And just having that light come in, seeing the light move across the cell, and seeing what I would kind of judge what time of day it was bad. Why don't they have windows here?
Just the way it was designed.
But why?
I don't know. I can't explain that.
The inmate would be in a cell, and then a food tray would be passed through the cell.
If they ever leave the pod, prisoners have to strip naked, pass their hands through a food slot to be handcuffed, then wait for the door to open.
Inmates come out to get some exercise. There's more room to run out here.
Prisoners only get an hour in this concrete dog run every day.
They're protected from the rain during the winter, and it's monitored with a video camera by the control booth.
In Iran, the open-air cell I exercised in was twice the size of this. Iranian prison is never far from my thoughts. My guides are just as curious about my situation as I am about Pelican Bay.
She's your girlfriend, right? Or fiance?
Yeah.
Are you still with her?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they let you guys kiss and all that?
Yeah, there's no one out there, it's like this, so there's a camera, but...
So we're allowed to have,
Physical contact?
physical contact?
We went outside.
Okay. Well, can't beat that.
At Pelican Bay, decisions about who gets put in the SHU come down to one man, Barneberg.
I'm a man just like you or just like everyone else in here. I don't want to see somebody else put in SHU as a gang member for unjust reasons.
He's essentially the judge, jury, and prosecutor in a process called a gang validation. Evidence against inmates can involve something as simple as appearing in the same photo as a gang member. In my review of dozens of inmates' files, California officials frequently cite possession of black literature, left-wing books, and writing about prisoner rights as evidence of gang membership. No actual judge is involved from the gathering of evidence to sentencing. Much of the evidence brought by gang investigators like Barneberg comes from informants. It's confidential and can't be refuted.
They've got multiple different avenues to review the gang material that's being used against them and challenge it.
But Barneberg says he has never seen a successful appeal in his 15 years at Pelican Bay. When journalists are let into the SHU, the only inmates allowed to talk are those who are informing on fellow prisoners. They don't like me asking why. Could we talk to a prisoner who's not going through the debriefing process?
When we go up to the main line,
But within the SHU?
no. We just always use these guys right here.
Yeah, but why?
But we just don't.
Good to go? So my guides take me out of the SHU to meet Paul Bocanegra. He was in solitary for 12 years.
It is punishment. It's meant to break a person.
He got out by informing on other prisoners, a process called debriefing, which among prisoners can mean death.
You know, you're going to be targeted for assault, possibly murder. So that's always in the back of your head.
You know, there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of myths about the debrief policy, and it gets hammered a lot. That debrief document is checked, double-checked against movement rosters, against other information provided by other debriefers, by other sources.
But I found that at least one inmate in another California prison was put in the SHU based on evidence from informants that was eventually discovered to be false. Years later, that prisoner remains in the SHU. The other way to get out is to be deemed inactive, a review that only happens every 6 years. Many less prisoners get out through that avenue than by debriefing.
Once you're validated, it's hard because you constantly have people leaving the SHU and giving up information. So it's like it's a revolving door.
These prisoners are criminals. I was a hostage, but a part of me relates to them. Their desperate words sound like the ones that ricocheted through my own head when I was inside.
I think any time in solitary is enough time to break a human being.
When I leave the prison, I head to the ocean.
There's nothing I've experienced in my life that is worse. An abyss is how I think of it. Like, how do you describe an abyss without describing the edges of the abyss? And you end up only describing the edges of the abyss. How do you describe something that's contentless? You're in a situation that is antithetical to what it means to be human, really.